Have you ever felt that strange, tingling sensation at the back of your neck while listening to a whisper? Or perhaps while watching someone gently fold a towel or tap rhythmically on a wooden surface? You're not alone. What you've experienced is called asthma, autonomous sensory meridian response. And while it might sound like a niche corner of the internet, it's a profound psychological phenomenon with surprisingly deep implications for your mental and emotional well-being. But here's the real question. Why does something so subtle, so mundane, trigger such an intense response in the human brain? And more importantly, what does it reveal about the nature of calm, presence, and even our early developmental wiring? Let's unravel this. At its core, asthma is a paradox. It's stimulation through stillness, a rush of dopamine from the quietest things imaginable. While the world chases louder, faster, more, asthma offers less, slower, softer. And yet, it works. That gentle whisper or soft brushing sound somehow reaches deeper than motivational speeches or thunderous soundtracks. So what's happening inside the brain? Neuroscientists have found that asthma activates regions associated with affiliation, reward, and empathy. Specifically, it seems to trigger the medial prefrontal cortex, an area involved in social bonding, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. In simpler terms, asthma mimics the kind of stimuli we associate with intimate care, especially from childhood. A soft voice close to the ear, rhythmic, repetitive gestures, focused attention. It's no coincidence that the most common asthma triggers resemble the sensory environment of a nurturing parent. The brushing of hair, the soft hum of a lullaby, the feeling of being watched over with warmth. The brain interprets these triggers as safe, familiar, even maternal. They tap into a kind of neurological nostalgia. But beyond comfort, asthma invites something even rarer in our overstimulated world: surrender. It doesn't demand your attention, it lulls you into giving it freely. It doesn't push, it invites. And in that invitation, something remarkable happens. The sympathetic nervous system begins to slow. Cortisol levels drop. Breathing deepens. The body begins to remember what safety feels like. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Studies show that people who regularly experience asthma tend to score higher in trait absorption. That is, the ability to become fully immersed in sensory or imaginative experiences. It's a trait often associated with mindfulness, hypnosis, and even spiritual transcendence. In other words, asthma isn't just about tingles, it's a portal to presence, a bridge to the quiet spaces within ourselves that we rarely access. Think about how rare that is today. When was the last time you sat still, in total silence, and simply allowed yourself to feel? Not to think, not to scroll, not to plan, but to feel. That's what asthma facilitates, not through instruction or ideology, but through experience, through subtle, rhythmic, sensory immersion. And yet, some people feel nothing. Why? Here's where psychology deepens the mystery. Asthma sensitivity seems to vary widely, and it may be connected to both neurological and emotional factors. Some researchers suggest that people with heightened interoception, the ability to sense internal bodily states, are more likely to feel asthma. Others point to emotional openness or even early attachment patterns as possible influences. In a way, asthma sensitivity might reflect how connected you are to your body, your emotions, and your sensory memory. Not just as a concept, but in real time. Interestingly, there's also evidence that asthma and mirror neuron activity are linked. Mirror neurons are the part of your brain that allows you to feel what others feel. They're why you wince when someone else stubs their toe or feel comforted by watching someone tend to a delicate task. Asthma seems to activate these same circuits, suggesting that watching someone speak gently, care for objects, or simulate closeness triggers a simulated version of those experiences in the viewer. So, it's not just relaxation, it's relational. Asthma simulates intimacy without demand, attention without judgment, care without obligation. And in a world where so many people are touch-deprived, overstimulated, and emotionally fatigued, that's not trivial, it's profound. But let's go one level deeper. Could it be that asthma is more than a stress reducer? What if it's a psycho-spiritual tool for reconnection with ourselves, our inner child, or the deeper rhythms of being? Some therapists and psychologists are beginning to explore asthma as a complement to trauma work, self-soothing strategies, and emotional regulation. Why? Because it bypasses the mind and goes straight to the nervous system. It doesn't ask you to explain your feelings. It lets you feel safe enough to feel them at all. This is the real secret behind asthma's calming power. It creates a non-verbal container for emotional rest. In those soft sounds and gentle gestures, we find a mirror to our longing for stillness, softness, and safe connection. It's not just the sound of tapping or brushing. It's the intention behind it that resonates. The presence, the slowness, the ritual. That's what many popular asthma videos mimic. Ritual, repetition, ceremony. Whether it's a cranial nerve exam, a fictional role play, or someone folding towels in a meditative rhythm, it all gestures toward order, intention, and containment. It creates a space where the mind can stop bracing and the body can exhale. And that's not just relaxing, it's healing. Psychologically, what we're seeking isn't just entertainment or sensory stimulation. It's a kind of attunement, a sense that someone, somewhere, is offering quiet care, that the world isn't always shouting, that softness still exists. What does that say about us? It says we're hungry for presence, for being noticed gently, for calm that isn't forced but offered, for intimacy that doesn't overwhelm but holds space. Asthma taps into all of that, and yet it doesn't announce itself as therapy. It simply shows up as stillness in a world addicted to stimulation, and maybe that's why it works. It reminds us that the most powerful forms of healing often come not from force, but from allowing, from slowness, from subtlety. And that's only the beginning. What happens when we allow ourselves to truly enter that state, when we stop resisting stillness and simply drop into it? For many, asthma becomes more than just a tool to relax before sleep. It becomes a gateway into self-awareness, into regulation, into the subtle but powerful art of being fully present. And presence, in psychological terms, is no small thing. Presence means exiting the cycle of rumination. Presence means letting go of control. It's the experience of now, not filtered through past regret or future anxiety, but through the quiet rhythm of breath, sound, and sensation. Asthma, in its unique way, teaches this. Not through words or doctrine, but through experience, through texture, through attention. And that may be why many people describe asthma as meditative, even spiritual. Meditation is not only about emptying the mind. Sometimes it's about filling it, consciously, with soothing, grounding signals, with reminders that not everything requires your reaction, that not everything must be managed, that not every sound is a threat. In a society shaped by urgency, asthma rewires us toward deliberateness. It tells your brain, you are safe now. You don't have to be alert. You can soften. This softening isn't weakness, it's strength. Because to soften in a chaotic world is to reclaim agency over your nervous system, over your breath, over the frantic spiral of thought. That's not escapism. That's resilience, and it has measurable effects. People who engage with asthma content regularly report improved sleep, decreased anxiety, and enhanced mood regulation. But even more than that, they often describe a subtle shift in how they relate to themselves. Less harshness, more curiosity. Less noise, more signal. So what does all this mean for your journey, your mental health, your spiritual balance, your relationship with inner calm? It means asthma can be a mirror to your state of mind. If you allow yourself to be soothed, perhaps you are beginning to believe that you are worthy of comfort. If you feel skeptical, maybe there's still part of you that believes peace must be earned through pain. Both are valid, and both can be explored. But the invitation stands, because asthma is not about escape. It's about return. A return to the basics of what it means to feel safe, to be seen gently, to be held without pressure. And here's something even deeper. Asthma teaches us something profound about human connection. That intimacy doesn't require physical contact or long conversations. Sometimes it just needs intention and presence. A quiet gaze, a slow breath, a whisper that says, "I'm here with you." In this way, asthma bridges the gap between psychology and the soul. It's subtle, yes, but powerful, because it shows us a version of calm that isn't manufactured. It's not a pill or a fix or a product. It's something primal, ancient, a biological memory of when we were first soothed by voice, by rhythm, by closeness. And isn't that what we're all searching for in some way? The return to that feeling of safety, of groundedness, of enoughness. Even more fascinating, asthma encourages a redefinition of productivity. In the West, we've tied value to action, motion, and efficiency. But what if true growth comes not from more, but from less, from stillness, from tuning into your nervous system and asking, what do I need right now? That question, simple, quiet, can be revolutionary. And here's where psychology meets personal power. The more you learn to listen to these subtle signals, the more attuned you become to your stress responses, your triggers, your need for rest, the more conscious your life becomes. That's not just self-care. That's self-mastery. And all of this, from a soft tapping sound or a whisper in your headphones. That's the surprising truth, that something seemingly small, even strange, can become a powerful catalyst for healing, awareness, and transformation. So maybe the next time you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or overstimulated, don't reach for another notification, another news feed, or another distraction. Try silence. Try stillness. Try something that asks nothing of you but your presence. Try listening deeply. Because your nervous system remembers what safety feels like. Your body holds the memory of being cared for. And you don't need anything extraordinary to return to that state. Just permission. Just presence. So here's a question for you. Have you ever experienced asthma? And if so, what did it awaken in you? A feeling, a memory, a sense of peace you didn't know you were missing? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear how this subtle phenomenon has touched your life, or whether it's something you're just now curious to explore. And if this video sparked something within you, a moment of stillness, a new insight, or even just the realization that calm is possible. I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because this space is for seekers, for those who want to understand themselves more deeply, for those willing to explore not just the noise of the world, but the silence beneath it. In a world that constantly pulls your attention outward, choosing to go inward is an act of courage, of self-respect, of inner strength. And sometimes, all it takes to begin is a whisper.